I'm ready when you are.
Cool.
Hi, my name's Frank Turner. I am at Wolfgang's Vault, and this is a song about a dream I had. The song's called I Am Disappeared. It goes like this. I keep having dreams of pioneers and pirate ships and Bob Dylan. People wrapped up tight in things that will kill them. Being trapped in a lip, plunging straight to the bottom. With open seas and ways of life we've forgotten. I keep having dreams. Amy walked in a bar in Exeter and went back to her house and I slept beside her. She woke up screaming in the middle of the night, terrified of her own insides. Dreams of pirate ships and Patty Hearst, breaking through a life all rehearsed. She can't remember which came first, her house, her home, or the terrible thirst. She keeps having dreams. And on the worst days, when it feels like life weighs 10,000 tons, she's got her cowboy boots and car keys on the bedstand, so she can always run. She could get out showering in half an hour, she'd be gone. Keep having dreams of things I need to do, of waking up and not following through. But it feels like I haven't slept at all. When I wake to a sunshine, she's facing the wall. Posters of Dylan and of Hemingway, an antique compass for a sailor's escape. She says you just can't live this way, and I close my eyes and I never say I'm still having dreams. And on the worst days, when it feels like life weighs 10,000 tons, I sleep with my passport, one eye on the back door, so I can always run. I could get out showering in half an hour, be gone. And come morning, I am disappeared. Just an imprint on the bedsheets and by the roadside, with my thumb out. A car pulls up and Bob's driving, and so I climb in. We don't say a word as we pull off into the sunrise. And these rivers of tarmac are like arteries across the country. We are blood cells alive in the bloodstream of the beating heart of the country. We are electric pulses in the pathways of the sleeping soul of the country. We are electric pulses in the pathways of the sleeping soul of the country. The sleeping soul of the country. This is a song called One Foot Before the Other, and this is kind of an alternative version of it. It goes like this. On the very day I die, the very last of my desires is that you take my broken body and commit it to the fire. And then when the fire is finished, scrape the ashes in a tin, take them down to London's drinking water lakes and throw them in. So the specks infinitesimal of my mortal remains will slide down 7 million throats and into 7 million veins, and I will creep through their capillaries to the marrow of their bones, and they will wake to bright new mornings, and then wordlessly they'll know that I remain. I am remembered. I remain. I am remembered. So these 7 million innocents, they will have me in their blood, and when they die they'll burn their bodies or be buried in the mud, and they will creep through streams and rivers like a virus through a host, from the hamlets to the cities, and from the rivers to the coast, and from there into the channel and to the great Atlantic Ocean, and ever onwards to the new world through the water's gentle motions, until parts of me are part of every landmass and every sea, in the rain upon your crops and in the very air you breathe. I remain. I am remembered. I remain. I am remembered. And all the things I love will be washed away in the rain. I remain. I am remembered. I'm not convinced of the existence of these things that don't exist. Yeah, by Jewish boys with big ideas and scratches on their wrists, or by a loving or a vengeful God, or one who'd condescend to wash his hands down in the mire that is the misery of men, or by ever turning circles hanging timeless in the sky like a dream catcher distracting from the fact you're gonna die. But I place one foot before the other, confident because I know that everything we are right now is everything that was. That what Tyler and Woody Guthrie and Dostoevsky and Davy Jones have all dissolved into the ether and have crept into my bones, and all the cells and all the lines upon the backs of both my hands were once carved into the details of 2 feet upon the sand. So I remain. We are remembered. Yes, we remain. We are remembered. Washed away in the rain, we remain. Yeah, I'm all right. This is a song about my grandmother who was totally awesome. She died a long time ago, but I think about her all the time. The song's called Peggy Sang the Blues. Peggy came to me in my sleep in the middle of the night on a Friday night last week. She whispered, "Hush, child, but don't be scared. Got me a few words of wisdom that I came back to share." And she said, "It doesn't matter where you come from, it matters where you go. And no one gets remembered the things they didn't do." I said, "Peggy, won't you stay here for a while? Drink whiskey, we can play cards, and we can get wild." She said, "We'll play poker and we'll play for keeps. I only play angels lately and they never let me cheat." And she said, "It doesn't matter where you come from, it matters where you go. And no one gets remembered in this listless life, things they didn't do." And you'd say I had a good start, and you could say I had class, but you say I told the keeper that I'm not the one who needs to make amends. 'Cause better times are coming. Better times ahead. No one gets remembered. My deathless child. Some rest too long in bed. And Peggy said, it doesn't matter where you come from, it matters where you go. No one gets remembered. The senseless of the side, the things they didn't do. Nah, 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 nah. And Peggy sang the blues as it drifted off. While Peggy sang the blues, while I drifted off. While Peggy sang the blues, as I drifted off. While Peggy sang the blues. Peggy sang the blues.
Sweet. You want to do one more? This is a song. This is actually. I wrote this song since finishing the new record, so this is actually going to be the next album, which is probably going to annoy my record label no end. But anyway, this is a song that doesn't really have a title, but I've kind of been calling it Rod Stewart recently, so we'll go with Rod Stewart. So here it is. If I had been born 200 years ago, I would have been a sailor. A sailing I would go. I'd sail around the capes and across the 7 seas and then back home. If I had been born 200 years ago. And I would know the waters, and the waters would know me. I would cut across the waves and be as happy as can be. I'd be loveless, I'd be landless, I'd be flight and fancy free. And I would know the waters, and the waters would know me. When I think about the place and time where I was born, oh, I wonder if the hands of fate have slipped and placed me wrong. 'Cause there are ships I could have sailed and sailors' boots I could have worn. When I think about the place and time where I was born. But the ocean is still out there, magnificent and wide. She's got open arms to hold me, and endless space to hide. And the only things that hold me back are things I hold inside. The ocean is still out there, magnificent and wide. Oh, 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 a sailing I should go. There it is. Thanks. Kaboom.
Hey everyone, I'm Derek from Karate Magazine, and I'm sitting here with Frank Turner, who just wrapped up a great set for us. Played a few songs, and now he's kind enough to stick around and chat with us. So welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll kind of start back at the beginning. When you first went solo, you dubbed your EP for CP Campfire Punk Rock, which to me kind of really perfectly fits your sound. Is that something that you coined, or is that something that was bestowed upon you?
I was, you know what? I was doing a gig in Dundee, which is a town in Scotland, and I was opening for someone, can't remember who, and I was having a cigarette outside after the show, and this guy who was wasted drunk came like falling out of the front door of the building and went, yeah, campfire punk rock, yeah, and then just kind of staggered off into the darkness. And I thought, yeah, I'll have that.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll take that. And then, you know what, before the EP came out, I did actually go to some efforts to try and find out, like, who this guy was. But, I mean, you know, I called my friends in Dundee, and I was like, yeah, he was a drunk punk guy. And they were like,
Doesn't narrow
Come
it
on,
down.
man. Yeah, throw me a bone here. So I don't know who it was, but it was a guy in Dundee.
Cool. Did you give a shout out to him in your liner notes?
Yeah, in the line notes it actually says, yeah, thanks to the drunk guy, drunk punk in Dundee.
Excellent.
But like I say, who knows who he may have been.
Cool.
Well, I'm sure there's a bunch of people who claim it was them now.
Right. Yeah. Taking credit.
Yeah.
Well, now you're about to release on June 6th here in the state, or June 6th in the UK, June 7th here. You're about to release your new record, England, Keep My Bones. I guess what's been the most proud thing about writing this album, making this album? What are you most proud about?
You know what? I think, I read an interview with Nick Cave once, who's one of my, I am answering the question. I read an interview with Nick Cave once, who's one of my guiding lights, and it was, and he's somebody who constantly surprises me with his continued awesomeness and creativity and all the rest of it. And he said that he felt like every time he wrote a record, he was scraping the bottom of the barrel, and every time he wrote, he was kind of worried about whether he would have another record in him, kind of thing. And that was a real kind of relief to read that, because I know what he means, kind of thing. And I threw everything into the previous record I had, and there was a moment, I mean, quite a long time ago now, but where I was kind of wondering where I was going to go with the new record, and I feel like I've I think they're good songs, and I think it takes me, it's not new places, as in I haven't taken a radical left-hand turn, I haven't made a drum and bass record or anything like that this time, but I've kind of broken some new ground, and I've written some songs that I'm real proud of. I think some of them are some of the best songs that I've written in my life, in my opinion, and it's just kind of, it's just kind of nice to know that the tap's still flowing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm really proud of it as a record.
Cool. How would you say? You said it's not not much of a departure for you, but would you say what's the difference between, say, all the way back to Campfire Punk Rock?
It's just I think I just feel like I've gone further down the road. It's the same road, but just
grown up a little bit.
Yeah, but also stuff. There's a brass section on some songs on this record I've never recorded with brass before, and there's an a cappella song on the record, just vocals, and just little things like that, stuff I've never tried before, and also, lyrically just trying to sort of push myself a little more to kind of be a bit more adventurous, a bit more kind of out there kind of thing, and it's good. I think I took longer writing this record than the previous records I've done, and that felt good as well, because in a way, in the past, I've kind of sort of rushed into things quite a lot, which sometimes I think is a really positive, healthy thing to do, to just kind of just do it, you know what I mean, and don't think about it kind of thing. But this time I spent a bit more time kind of digging around, trying to make sure that things are as good as they could be.
So brass on this record, and then drum and bass will come later.
Drum and bass for the next album, that's what it's going to be.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, as a lot of your fans are aware of, you started out with Million Dead, and have since, in the last 6 or 7 years, gone your own way, put together a band that you're kind of leading. What would you say is the best thing about going solo, and then what's the thing you miss most about being in a band like Million Dead?
Well, the control is great. I mean, Million Dead was a democratic band, and the better for it, and that was cool. But it also kind of meant we nearly broke up once arguing about the album artwork of our first record. It's ridiculous, and it's kind of nice having done that for quite a long time to go into a situation of actually, I control all aspects of what I do, and that feels good. It's kind of, in a way, I feel like being solo, it's kind of like everything's just kind of amplified. If things go well, then it's better because you take all the credit. And if things go badly, then it's worse because you take all the flack. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that I have the Sleeping Souls, like the band that I've been playing with, I mean, they're not with me right now, but they will be.
They toured with you and they recorded the record with you.
Yeah. They're great. And I sort of feel like I sort of have the best of all worlds, because the things that I miss being solo is kind of the camaraderie thing, and I mean, I did an awful lot of touring just completely on my own, not even with a tour manager or anything like that. And, it gets pretty lonely, and there's a lot of tour stories I have that I can't really share with anybody because there wasn't really anybody else there, But then, so now I get the kind of camaraderie thing. I got my boys we're like a little pirate ship traveling around the world in a bus or whatever. But at the same time, I still retain the kind of dictatorial control from a creative angle. So I feel like I'm totally having my cake and eating it at the same time.
Cool. And as you just mentioned, you're kind of known for being this touring machine.
Yeah.
So as life on the road kind of become what you feel is normal for you? And is it hard to slip back into non-touring mode?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's the thing. You know what? I mean, I do kind of have a rep for touring all the time, and people think that, some people think that it's kind of impressive in some way. But for me, it's just kind of, that's what being a musician is playing. You know, it's not really anything I consciously think about very much or anything like that. You know, I like playing, and I want to be a professional musician, and that's what I do. So yeah, I mean, yeah, and it does actually, I do get a bit kind of antsy going home now, you know, get a little bit climbing up the walls. I was in one place for a couple of months at the start of this year, actually, because we were working on the new record, and that was, I got pretty kind of itchy feet towards the end of that time.
Well, if I'm right, you recently played your thousandth gig, which is such a feat. Did you do anything kind of special for that, or? Well,
yeah, kind of. I mean, I kind of noticed that it was coming up, and initially I didn't care because it was just like, you know, it's like a number going over on the mileometer, you know. But then it was like, actually, that would be kind of cool. And I was in Berlin, then I was in Australia, and then I was coming to Canada, and I wanted it to be in the UK, so we stopped off in London on the way through, and some friends of mine run an organisation called Strummerville, which is set up by Joe's kind of friends and family, and they organise kind of charity shows, and they kind of coincidentally asked me if I'd be interested in doing one around that kind of time. And it just sort of came together really nicely, so we had a kind of wild party in a car park in East London, had about 1,000 people there, and kind of invited my friends and family down, and had a really good time. Got super wasted. It was good.
Well, you're celebrating, so.
Yeah, totally. It was a great time. But then you know what? Almost in a way, almost my favourite thing was that I got on a plane a couple of days later and went to Canada and just did more shows, you know, and just kept going, you know. And the road winds on. I've got like 60 shows in my calendar between now and August, you know. That makes me feel good.
Well, speaking of your kind of touring prowess and the road, I've got to ask about your video for your song, The Road, where you play 24 shows in 24 hours. I'm kind of, how did that come about, and did you nail every show, or?
Well, that was it was one of those. Me and the director Adam were having a conversation about concepts for the video, and it was kind of one of those things where one-upmanship kind of got a little out of hand. You know, it was kind of like, well, you know, we just do a video that's about kind of traveling and movement and shows and stuff like that. And then he was kind of like, you know, we could have you just kind of on a bunch of different kind of far-flung locations. And then it was like, I could play a bunch of shows, and then you know, just bam, 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 suddenly, and then someone said 24 shows in 24 hours. And then the minute it was said, this kind of horrible silence descended on the room, because we both know that's what we had to do.
You have to do it.
And it was, you know what, it's one of those things that I'm glad I did, and it's really fun looking back on it, but it was not fun quite a lot of the time. I mean, you know what, so the first kind of like, we did like the first 8 shows, and it was like, this is a breeze, man, this is going to be easy. And then it's like, we still got 16 more to go. And the worst part was kind of, because we did kind of, I think we did 8 p.m. till 8 p.m, doing one every hour kind of thing. And then when it got to about 11 a.m, that wasn't fun. It was just kind of like, we've been awake all night. And some of the shows were kind of like people's houses, and there'd be like 10 people there kind of thing, and it's 11 a.m. and they've all just got up, and we're all kind of, because I had a kind of crew of people coming around with me. So, you know, yeah, good to do. Don't particularly want to do it again. Adam did actually suggest a way of topping it, but this would require a lot more money, a lot more logistical planning, and you would have to convince me to actually do it. But the idea was to get a helicopter and do 24 shows in 24 different cities in 24 hours. Wow. But you'd have to organise gigs at helipads. I don't know. I don't really know how flying helicopters works. It's not really my scene.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, maybe that's in store for the new record.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know anyone who owns a helicopter, so we'll have to work on that.
Well, anyone out there that does...
anyone with a helicopter, get in touch.
Yeah. And, thanks for coming by.
It's my pleasure, man. It's nice to be in San Francisco.
Yeah, as you've probably gathered, you can probably see Frank in a number of locations, so check out his site for tour information, and make sure to watch the rest of the songs that we have for you at our session here. And again, England Keep My Bones out June 7th in the States and June 6th in the UK.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me, man.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.